What's up, everyone, man? Feels really, really good to be back, man. I missed so much that I missed on here. First off, shout out to everyone that reached out to me and just wished me well. I wasn't doing too bad at all. I wanted to jump back on YouTube earlier, just to. Well, for those that don't know, I had COVID this week. Pretty much everyone here in New York is catching COVID right now. But my symptoms weren't too bad. I just couldn't really get over this cough. The cough is really you'll probably hear it during this video here. But I've been home quarantining all week and just hanging out, and that's pretty much it. Um, but yeah, I hope everyone is doing well out there. I hope you guys just be careful, especially at the time we're in right now, especially if you're from the East Coast. Be careful out there, wear your mask, do whatever you got to do in order to, be careful with the socializing and stuff like that. Happy holidays to everyone, by the way. Happy holidays, whatever it is you celebrate. Hope everyone had a great Christmas, Kwanzaa, whatever it is that you celebrate. um Happy holidays. But yeah, definitely be careful out there. I didn't really, I've been home. I It's been a rough month for me. I've been sick all month. I just was getting back from salmonella, and then I went right into COVID. And trust me, the salmonella was much worse than the COVID. The COVID wasn't too bad. It's just getting over the symptoms. It's like the flu. It's like the flu, at least for me. um it's just a cough. The cough, I wanted to get on like a couple days ago, but the cough is just like, it was bad. But everything else, for the most part, most of the symptoms are gone. All right. But yeah, I posted it. I wanted y'all to know because I I actually, if you guys saw me in the last live that I did, I was doing the Arthur Betterbiev. No, was did I go on live for that? Yes, I was live for that. So I was live for that fight. I actually had it that night. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I kept getting up later in the live, right? The second half of the live, because at that very moment, I was feeling the symptoms while I was doing that live. So I wanted to keep stretching. I kept getting water because my throat was starting to clog up and close up at that moment. And I had no idea. And it wasn't until the next day. I think the next day, Joseph Parker fought that day. Who else fought that day? You had Joseph Parker, you had Zerto, you had the Jake Paul fight. I wanted to go live then, but at that time the symptoms were already harsh. So I was just like, I'm thinking like I just got the flu, I'm like, oh man, I'm getting sick again. And then Sunday, I came back on. No, Sunday is when I found out that I had it. Karma, thanks, hun, for the donation. I appreciate you. Aaron, thank you too as well for the donation. Uh, Aaron says, thanks for the videos. This was actually a really rough past few months for me, and you helped me get through with all the boxing content. And thank you, man. And I'm glad that I can do that for you and the other subscribers that's on here. Supporters, I mean, I don't even like saying subscribers, but supporters of the channel. Shout out to everyone that just reached out to me to make sure I was good, because I'm definitely good. I was all right. I was just, you just got to go through it. And I don't want to just disappear like I used to. When I didn't want to do videos, or if I was going through things, or if I was busy at work, and I would just go weeks without dropping anything. And coming off of a huge boxing weekend that we had last weekend, and not being able to drop any content, would have been like, yo, I don't want to do like that no more. So that's why I kind of like let you guys know, like, yo, I'm sick. And I'll be back. All right. But shout out to everyone that's here. We definitely gonna go through. I'm gonna try to, what I want to do is I want to catch up to some of the things that I didn't address because I was off or I was out. And and then get right into some of the things, like the boxing, the 2021 boxing awards, some of the best, the best fights, the fight of the year round, all that stuff. We're gonna get into that too. But I'm not gonna address all of the boxing news today because after tonight, tomorrow I'll go into all that other stuff in detail in separate videos. It's just too much to cover, and I can't do like 2-3 hours tonight live. So, but yo, I'm doing well. It's just the cough and the congestion. That's it. I'm doing all right, man. I'm doing okay. Everybody in the family is good. Everybody had a good holiday, Christmas, and everything. Everybody's doing good. So, and I hope everybody on here is doing well as well. All right. So let's get into some of the old stuff. So I did cover Marcus Browne against Arthur Betterbiev, right? I was on here. I covered the fight live. It was a fun fight to watch. I hope Marcus is doing okay. I hope Arthur is doing okay because he got that big cut in the middle of his head, similar to Badu Jack. And the way I felt about that fight, I didn't think it needed to last that long. It was one of the fights was able to go back to and watch some of it. And Arthur put a lot of punishment on Marcus Browne. I know it was a big deal, big fight for Marcus, his biggest test up to that point. I knew it was a big deal for his coach as well, Derrick James. He really wanted that win because he would have been have 3 unified champions in his stable. All right. But Marcus, after the first couple of rounds or so, Betterbiev was just too strong. He was just too strong. And Marcus really didn't have anything to keep him off him. I think he put in a good effort. There were times where he did, try to come forward. He tried to get Betterbiev at points to fight on his back foot, but I don't think he really had the strength and the power to really do it, and he's not durable enough to really do it as well. But he did well. He showed a lot of toughness, he did take a lot of punishment and stood through it. He fought through it. I really wanted him just to go to the body a little bit more, but it's real hard when you got a guy like that coming at you, a guy that's so physically strong and punches so hard. I see like everybody went, and this is one thing that annoys me with the sport whenever there's like a real popular fighter like Canelo is right now. People got to understand that we don't have to include Canelo in every single fight or any other fighter that is associated to him based on, maybe potential opponents or past opponents. Or I think after the win, when I looked on social media the next day, everybody was talking about Canelo. Oh, Canelo could beat this guy, and Canelo could beat this guy. Canelo, look, based on that performance, you got to understand, Betterbiev is fighting with a cut in his forehead, a big, not just a number, like it looked like a third eye in his head. He's fighting with that, and he's fighting a young fighter after being inactive, having COVID, being injured, multiple injuries. All right. That's a good performance. People were like judging his performance. He's fighting someone that's really good at light heavyweight. He's really, really good at light heavyweight. And people are trying to trash that performance. It's okay if you think that Canelo can beat him. That's fine. But we can't keep doing this after every single fight that we see with anybody that's associated with Canelo in any kind of way. I don't know where that's coming from. It's getting a little annoying because we want to have like real, genuine boxing discussions. And there's a lot going off. 175, if you really think about it, it's a really deep division. And I know Canelo has won a title there. I know there's been some talks of him fighting Betterbiev, Bivol, and that's cool. It's cool to have these discussions, but not when it's. Let's talk about the fight itself. Let's talk about him and the other fighters at 175. it's more than just what Canelo can do and potential opponents for Canelo. You know, we can talk about the division. Let's stick to that. I think it was a great performance. I think he did well for the fact that this, you know, he had to cut and he had to fight through it. And I think he proved that he's still, you know, I mean, he's one of the top guys. The one thing is with 175, and I might as well jump into the Zerto win as well. I'll talk about that briefly, but you got a lot of fighters. And if you really think about it, right? And definitely hit that smash that like button if you can. If you think about it, a lot of fighters didn't fight each other yet, right? So you got Bivol and Betterbiev, and you gotta understand the Kovalev and the Adonis Stevenson era, right? You got a couple guys still hanging around, but their era is gone. It's done, and it's been done for a couple. It's been oh my phone. You got a couple, yeah. It's been done, right? So we should be focusing on these guys that's active right now because Betterbiev is in his later 30s already. If it's gonna be Bivol, if it's gonna be Zerto, you know, Zerto against Bivol, these fights need to happen. Let's not wait around and wait for Canelo to jump in or one of these young up and coming fighters to jump in and take their spot. If you are one of the top guys right now, get it going. Joe Smith Jr., you as well. Let's get these fighters. There's no promotional, there shouldn't be any promotional issues making these fights. All of these fights can be made. Some of them on the zone, a couple of them on top rank. These guys should be making these fights and letting it go down because I think it's taking too long. And I understand that 2020 happened, you know, that slowed everything up. But we got to get these fights at 175 going for real. Like, for real. You know, we're getting good fights, but we got to see who's really the top dog at the division. I really just don't know yet. I still don't know. You know, I mean, Joe Smith has a belt. I kind of, you know, we seen him fight Bivol. Bivol already beat him. Okay. But there's still a lot of fights that could be made, you know, and I know he's supposed to be fighting Callum Johnson. That's a cool fight. All these fights are cool. They're cool fights, but I still want to be sure who's the top dog at 175 with no question. All right. Right now, it's just a little bit like I'm not really sure. I think Betterbiev might be on top because he's the unified guy. You know, he beat Volzdik, which I think which was the best win. So I'm gonna give it to him because Volzdik beat Adonis Stevenson, and then Betterbiev ended up stopping him. Right. And Betterbiev has stopped everybody he's been in the ring with, and that's cool. Still want to see him fight Bivol. Still would love to see him fight Joe Smith Jr. If he fought Canelo moved up and fought him, that would be great too. These are all good fights. I just need something to happen for that division because it's a good division, you know, and I just don't think it's moving fast enough for the fact that Stevenson is gone. Kovalev is pretty much done. I want something to happen. At least that's for me. School's the best. Ask who I got, Bivol or Zerto. I think I got Bivol, but it's a debatable one. You know what I'm saying? Zerto's tough, throws a lot of punches. He's very aggressive. The thing about Zerto and watching that fight against Uniescas Gonzalez, right? And I like Gonzalez. You know, I respect him. I've been watching him since the John Pascal fight. I remember that fight. I don't know if you guys were here at that time, but I was one of the very, very few that actually thought Pascal edged the fight. I think that was one of those videos that a lot of people did not like because most people had Uniescas getting robbed in that fight. Oh, Anthony Yard, thank you for bringing him up too, because he's up there too. So thank you for bringing him up. Anthony Yard too. You got to look out for him because he's in position to get a title shot too. But Gonzalez is cool. You know, I like him. He gave a great fight. I think he hurt Zerto early. He brought it to Zerto that first round for real. The only problem with Zerto is that his defense is really poor. Like I knew, like when I was watching him at 168 and when he fought Jesse Hart a couple times and the other fights that I seen with him, I knew he wasn't great and sharp on defense. You know what I'm saying? I knew he was aggressive. I knew he could punch. I know he liked to come forward and stuff like that. But this fight here, I mean, he was taking every punch that Gonzalez threw at him. And I thought that was kind of strange because, being that he moved up, and even though this is a respectable opponent, you know, if it's going to be Bivol or if it's going to be Betterbiev or it's going to be Callum Johnson or it's Joe Smith Jr. or whoever, a lot of these guys at the division are punchers. I mean, Bivol may not be the biggest puncher, but he's probably, he's definitely without a doubt one of the most talented boxers up there, as far as technique. And he can't go on these fights. He can't go on these fights fighting like that. He can't just be reckless like that, because these guys, other guys hit hard and they box better than Gonzalez, but it was a really, really good, entertaining fight. And him and Bivol need to get it together and get this fight. I mean, they should be fighting next. I mean, it's been a long way, and I'm not going to sit here and go into whose fault it is of them not fighting yet. But we need to get that fight going. If we're not going to get unification, yeah, Joe Smith Jr. versus Vlasov was definitely one of the better fights too in the division for sure this year. And I actually think I scored it for Vlasov. I think it was really tight, but I think Vlasov actually did enough to win, to me, in my opinion. I think Joe Smith didn't look good at all in that fight. I think he got outboxed in that one. All right. But yeah, I love 175, man. And they just need to tighten it up there. I don't think it's as bad as like how 168 was, where 168, where everybody was playing it safe, hoping that Canelo got up there, which he did, and then he cleaned up the mess up there. I'll be speaking on Canelo shortly, though. So anyway, we had that fight. What else we had? Oh, we had Joseph Parker against Chisora too, which was probably the funnest fight to watch over the weekend, man. That was a fun fight. That was a fight that I wanted to get on so bad, man. I came home. I wanted to talk about that fight, but I was not feeling well, man, and I didn't want to jump on. I was watching that fight, and it was such a good fight. Like, I did not like the first fight. The first fight, it had its moments, but it was like a hug fest, This one was way better, and then you just had the whole, like, after watching the weigh-in, I think I did do a breakdown for that fight, right? And I think I did pick Parker to win. I said he was capable. I picked Parker to win. I said he was capable of stopping Chisora, but I just don't think he has that killer instinct in him for some reason. He hasn't had it since he was a prospect to me. He just doesn't want to stop anybody no more. I don't know what's up with that. The only time I've seen it, the killer instinct in Joseph Parker, is when he fought Dillian White, and he was down going into that last round, and he was trying to stop Dillian White there. But something's up with Joseph Parker, man. He just doesn't have the killer instinct, and he showed. I think he's just genuinely like a really, really nice guy. Like, he seemed like he's a really nice guy, and that fight, he kept hurting Chisora. I mean, I was unsure how it was going to play out after watching the weigh-in, because when I saw the weigh-in, I said, okay, he's clearly bigger. He's clearly going to be in there trying to knock out Chisora. He's not in there to play nice and just outbox him. He's he's in there because he wants to get a stoppage, right? You saw what happened with Fury and Wilder. Him and Fury are boys. He probably went in there like, yo, I'm going to knock this guy out. And, he does already, he has the better boxing ability. He has the better speed. He's going to be faster than Chisora. But I was actually worried about it, because I'm like, wait a minute. Are you used to going 12 rounds that heavy? You never came in anywhere near that heavy. I know when Joseph Parker was like around 220, Chisora was looking chiseled. He was looking great. He still looked great. By the way, I think he should just keep fighting, man. I don't want to see him retire. Even with all these losses, man, I don't want to see him retire. I just don't want to. I mean, even with the loss, he don't look bad. You know how a fighter looks bad, like Spilker, for example. He looked bad to me, like Eric Molina looks bad to me. Uh, uh, Chisora don't look bad to me. He still look good. He looks in great shape. He's giving us good fights. I know Eddie's been talking about him and Wilder recently, got everybody mad about that. But I think Chisora did good, but Parker left him off, kept giving him breaks. Anytime Parker hurt him or dropped him, Parker would give him time to recover. And I didn't like it. It made for a great fight because the fight continued. And I think towards the end, Chisora started picking up rounds. Those rounds where he didn't really get hurt. You know what I'm saying? Like I like the fact that it was a good fight. But as far as strategy, Parker, every time you heard him, finish him off. He couldn't get the job done. Chisora just get up, or I think it was a couple of the 8 counts. It wasn't like I think he got dropped once. I think it was 2 8 counts because he will fall back against the ropes. And Chisora will get up and he'll just take a stroll around the ring. and Parker would just let him. And I'm like, I was tweeting through the fight because I couldn't get on live because I was already feeling the sickness. But I was like, yo, what is going on? Like, you gonna stop this dude? You clearly went in there. Your strategy was to stop him, and you didn't do it. You gained all this weight, kept letting him off the hook. So, but besides that, just Joseph did his thing. Derek was aggressive as he normally is. What's up, Captain? What's up, man? What's up, EK? I see you. Yeah, it was a good fight. I think Joseph should have really made a statement, but it was a good fight regardless, and it is what it is, man. And again, Joseph Parker, I'm assuming this puts him, I didn't check, but I'm assuming it puts him right in a good space to get to a title fight pretty soon, MRD Lock, thank you for checking in. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. I'm not 100%, but I'm feeling much better. All right. And I apologize for the cough, but I just couldn't keep going days without doing content. I wanted to get on here so bad. But anyway, shout out to you. Shout out to everyone that's coming in. Smash that like button. What's up, Chain with Ice? What's up, everyone? All right, so good fight. Just want to move on real quick to the next one. Real quick. I just wanted to wish David Diamante well. I just want to wish him well. He was in that horrific motorcycle accident. All right. Got a few spinal fractures. That sounds horrible. He may not walk again, reminds me of Paul Williams. That's the first person that came to mind. Paul Williams, Paul the Punisher, David is one of the best ring announcers out there today. He's one of the best to do it today. I was watching a few interviews of him throughout the week, after I heard about the news, and it seems like a gentleman, man. Very classy dude. Happened out here in Brooklyn. I just wish him the best. I think that's horrible news. It's horrible. I have a close cousin of mine. He was involved in a motorcycle. In fact, I think one time I was doing a live. I forgot what fight it was, but my cousin was here with his girl. And he was on a little bit on a live a little bit. That's my guy. He was involved in a motorcycle accident, man. The motorcycles, listen, I can't get me a motorcycle, man. I love speed too much as it is. I love cars, I couldn't give me a motorcycle because I would be too reckless, man. I can't give me a bike. But I love bikes, but I couldn't get involved with that. And that's exactly why I stayed away. I got relatives, a bunch of family members that's into bikes heavy, and I can't do it. I can't do it, man. But best wishes to David Diamante, man. I hope him and his family and his loved ones are holding him down through these tough times. That must have been a horrible experience, man. He's great. He's great, and I hope, one way or another we could get him back to doing what he does, because he does it great. Michael Buffer, he ain't gonna be around forever, man. And that he's the ATG of this ring announcer, and not just the ring. I mean, announcer to any kind of event. But I hope David could get back, because he's great at what he does, man. Salute to him. What's up, Fistiano? What's good? Unbiased perspective. What's good? SJ Fish, Lennox. What's up? All right. So let's go to the next topic. Let's go. What I got here on this list. Serrano, Amanda Serrano won against Gutierrez, man. And that picture of Gutierrez has kind of been a meme. I think that's kind of messed up. I don't like that, because Serrano beat Gutierrez up really, really bad. This was on the undercard of Jake Paul against Tyron Woodley. And she did. I mean, I was tweeting through the fight. I thought Gutierrez was going to get stopped early based on the way that the fight was going. But this woman was just too tough, man. She was extremely, just fighting her. The swelling came up quick. And she kept fighting. She stuck it out, man. She stuck it out. I mean, she took a lot of punishment. We just waiting on that Katie Taylor Serrano thing at this point. I'm ready. But I'm gonna let you guys know now. I'm sort of, based on, like, they both fought. I'll talk a little bit on them a little later, but they both fought, like 4 times almost within the year. They both fought 3 times this year. Both fought at the end of last year. They're both very rare active. They're both fighting good people. Katie Taylor fought, Jonas. So, that's probably, she's probably fighting a little bit better people, but I think it's close enough. I like Serrano, man. I think she just looks more impressive in her wins. I think I'm leaning a little bit towards her if they fight this year. And this might be 2022 is shaping up to be one of the greatest recent boxing years in recent years, if everything happens the way it could happen. Okay. Because there's a lot of big fights. And as far as female boxing, it's gonna be great, because this is a big fight. This is a fight. Taylor and Serrano is a big fight. This is a fight that I would have no problems paying pay-per-view for. And I would like to go, depending on where it's going to be at. If it's going to be here in the States, I would love to go. Salute to them too. I would look forward to them making that fight, man. I hope they make a lot of money. And the same thing with Clarissa Shield and Jesus Christ, I keep forgetting her name. Clarissa Shields, and who's the girl that she's supposed to be fighting? I can't think of her name right now. I'm having a brain freeze. But anyway, you guys will tell me in the comments. Anyway, it should be a big year for female boxing, and I look forward to it. All right. Oh, Savannah Marshall. I'm sorry. Savannah Marshall. So in that fight too, same thing. I'll pay top dollar to see those 2 fights. And I would love to go to see those fights live, and I think actually the styles actually blend in pretty well. It's not that they're just fighting, Savannah, there's a big rivalry there because of the amateurs and everything like that. And this is the one woman that people feel that can beat her. But actually the styles make sense. It is good. Savannah's a boxer, puncher, You have Clarissa, who's a very quick, quick hands, good scrapper, can box very well too. That's a good match. And then you got Serrano, who's very, very aggressive. And then you got Katie, who's a good, counter puncher and a good boxer. I like the matchups. So hopefully we get it together with them 2 fights and we can get them this year. And it'll be good. It'll be good boxing. All right. Let's talk Jake Paul and Tyron Woodley. Tyron Woodley, man. Uh, First of all, I enjoyed that card. That undercard fight with what's his name? Deron Williams and uh the football player. Deron Williams. I'm a basketball dude. I'm not that much of a football dude anymore, but was a Frank Gore. That fight was entertaining as hell. I enjoyed watching those 2 fight. I mean, out of all of the like non-boxing people, that shit was the best fight, I think, out of all of it, because yeah, it was a wild fight. Yeah, these guys are not like super technical and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? But it was clean punching. It was knockdowns. Guys was getting stunned. I love that fight, man. I even watched some of it again. Like I thought that fight was cool. I'm not gonna lie, man. I love the fight. The Jake Paul Tyron Woodley fight was even more boring than the first one was, right? And then the knockout came, and I was like, this was knockout of the year, arguably. It was one of the best knockouts of the year. I mean, they made memes of this dude. I mean, the way he was laying and his feet was like this, it looked crazy. Oh man. And then you got everybody talking about it being it was being fixed, there was hand signals. I seen the videos, man. I seen the videos, man. It was great. Let me just drink some water real quick before we go in on this fight, because I gotta talk about this whole thing with Jake Paul, man. And I'm here for it, man. You know what? They got me, man. I'm here for it. I hate to say it as a real hardcore boxing fan. I hate to say it, but I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I'm not gonna fight it no more. Because at least, let me just drink some water real quick. That's how it's been, B. Drinking it out the gallons now, like cutting all these lemons into the gallon and is drinking it like that. Then doing the lemon, the ginger tea. I've been drinking hella ginger tea. Somebody, yo, real quick. I know this is off topic, but somebody on Instagram sent me a video. This dude smoking hookah with the ginger in the hookah. They made a whole concoction with ginger and the water of the hookah. And like the guy's like, if you're sick and you're trying to feel better. And they sent me that because we New Yorkers be smoking hookah everywhere they go. But yeah, somebody sent me this funny video. I'll put it in my story in the on my Instagram, the BoxingWave Instagram. I'll put it up there because it's such a funny video. But anyway, what was I talking about? So Jake Paul, I'm here for it, man. What's up, Charles Edward Cheese? What's good, man? I'm here for Jake Paul, man. I'm here for it. And as far as the as far as it being fixed, it's no way to really tell because first of all, the knockout was clearly legit. The knockout, the hit was legit, the fall was legit. Dude went out. Now, as far as what he did to set up that shot was valid. If they are fixing it, I don't think there's enough evidence to show that, because what I seen there is it happens all the time. You know, you keep going to the body or you keep fainting to the body, it's very easy to come up top and land the right hand. We seen it with Canelo and Khan. What was Canelo doing all the way up? You saw Canelo's, you saw Khan's sides, they were all red. Canelo faked to the body and went up top and knocked Khan out one shot. It's so many examples we can give here. Is it, you know what? If it is a fix, that's a pretty good fix. If it is a fix, you know, not saying it's not, but at the end of the day, that was a legit thing that we see in boxing all the time. You know, the fainting and then coming up fainting to the body, then coming up top with the right hand. You know, if you watch some of the fight before that, you would constantly see Woodley coming forward, you know, blocking shots to the body. He kept doing it. So when he left his guard down, he got hit with a right hand. If you believe it was a fix because of the hand signal thing, like I seen a little thing, like I see some people do videos on YouTube, and Jake kind of like was like before the punch was thrown, he went like this. I think that's what makes people think that it was fixed. I don't think it was fixed based on the fact that Paul is winning fights though, not against MMA fighters. I don't believe that. You know what I'm saying? And to be honest, the reason why I really don't hate them anymore, like I'm not, it's for two reasons. First off, again, and I've said this before, if boxing, let's just say boxing was where it should be, and we were getting the fights that we should be getting on a regular basis, we wouldn't be concerned with these other fights. You know, Jake Paul and his brother, they kind of swooped in at a time where, you know, we're not getting most of the fights that we want. Most of us boxing fans are, you know, we're just not satisfied overall, right? This guy comes in at a time, he's throwing a lot of money around. He's already famous, you know, and he's bringing, he has real boxers on his undercard, and he's bringing a whole different community into the sport. You can't tell me there's not people that wasn't watching boxing before that's watching it now just because they enjoyed his card, you know? Yeah, I think Devin Haney was on one of his cards before, you know? Like, what if there's somebody out here that never saw a Devin Haney before, never saw a man of Serrano before, and they were like, oh, I think I want to check this out. Like this Manda, this chick can fight. I'm gonna keep watching her fights. You never know, you know? Um, but yeah, that's embarrassing. I hate to see Woodley go out like that, because I said the same thing with Nate Robinson. Nate Robinson was a really good basketball player. People are gonna really remember him for those dunk contests who he was involved in, because he was really one of the shorter guys out there. He was a New York Knick. I was a fan of him when he was here in New York. Um, but we gonna remember him for getting knocked out by Jake Paul. It is what it is. I didn't even know who Jake Paul was until that fight. In fact, I didn't even know, I didn't even like follow that fight until the knockout happened. I wasn't paying attention to any of that before. The same thing with Logan Paul. I didn't know anything about these dudes. I never heard of them. You know, I wasn't really covering none of that stuff for a while. Uh, so anyway, I think you know, I think if boxing get back to where, I think Jake Paul's already submitted his status here. He's gonna be here. He's not going nowhere. You know, and he's doing a lot of money talk. He's giving Dana White and the UFC hell, you know, because he's telling those guys like, yo, come over here, come over to this side where you could get the millions. We could get the millions that you guys are not getting over there. And he's doing a lot of that talking right now. You know what I'm saying? So I think Jake Paul is here to stay. I don't think he's going anywhere. Um, And the card was actually entertaining for me. There was 3 fights on this card that I saw that I liked. I liked the Serrano fight. I loved the knockout of Woodley, and I liked the Gore and Williams fight. You know, I liked all 3. All right. All right. So anyway, all right. So that's it for the fights of last week. You know, I wanted to just go back and talk a little bit because I never got to cover any of those fights. What's up, Tony? Tony says problem with Jake is people don't want to accept the fact that he can fight. Dude fought 2 MMA world champions in 5 fights. There isn't one. There isn't one AM boxer 5 fights who has 4 guys on that level. And I meant to say that, and I'm glad you brought that up because I wanted to bring up that point because I heard somebody else bring up that point, and I never really thought about it like that. For a guy with 5 professional fights, he fought good people for 5 professional fights. And when you compare who everybody else fought, I'm talking about 98% of boxers fight guys on that level. If let's not even include the other guys. Let's not include Nate. Let's not include Ben Askren. Let's not include who else did he fight? Ben Askren, Nate Robinson. Who else did? Oh, some YouTube guy. All right, so let's just say Tyron Woodley. And I know Woodley is not a boxer, but he is one of the greatest welterweights in the UFC, right? I mean, at one point in his prime, he was one of the best knockout KO artists, period. If Tyron Woodley were to fight guys that are stepping in like Ali Walsh within his first 5 fights, he'd be a problem for some of these guys. You know, they might have an early L. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not talking weight classes or anything like that. I think what he's done is not bad. It's nothing to complain about. Listen, I don't have a problem with him. You know, I don't have a problem with him. I think it's that easy. If you're not into it, just turn it off. You know, I was one of those people, but I'm entertained by the cards. I'm entertained by it. You know, I think it's like it's boxing, but it's entertainment for me. It's not real boxing. It's still like I look at it as just being entertainment. You know what I'm saying? And nothing more. It's like watching Ratchet TV, you know? Like I like real thorough TV series, and then the Jake Paul fight come on, I might tune in and check it out because it's entertaining to me. I liked it better on Triller because I like Snoop and I like that whole it was just ghetto. I like that, you know. I like it. And you can't kill me for being entertained, but I know exactly what it is. Like this is what it is. I'm not making it to be more than what it is, you know. Now once we start talking about real ranked fighters, like again, he was supposed to fight Tommy Fury. Tommy Fury pulled out because of his injury. He had to pull out. All right. I see people are bringing up Chavez Jr. too. Yo, I think he'll beat Chavez Jr. I think he'll beat him. And Chavez Jr. wouldn't even have to worry about being drained. He'll beat Chavez Jr. Chavez Jr. is gonna lose to everybody. Chavez Jr. is gonna lose. I'd rather beat Tommy Fury because I think Tommy could bring something more than Chavez. Chavez Jr. is always gonna lose. He got no will to win. He's just there for a check. He's like, yo, just pay me my money and let me get out of here. Seriously. I want to see him fight Anderson. If he's gonna fight another guy that's not like a full-time boxer, I wouldn't mind seeing him fight Anderson Silva. You know, at least I know Silva could box a little bit, and you know, even though he's older, I wouldn't mind seeing that. He could box better than Tyron Woodley, but I want to see the Tommy Fury fight. I want to see that. That fight would have been good, and that was a fight that I didn't think Jake Paul could win. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't think Jake Paul could beat Tommy Fury. I don't think Tommy Fury is all that good, but I was like, nah, that's a little too much. You know, that's a little too much. You know, I could see him beating Chavez Jr., but I don't think about Tommy Fury is nah. I don't know. We gotta wait and see how that goes. And that's why I like the fight. I actually like that fight. I told you guys when they made the video, I like that. I made a video on that. I like that fight because I'm not sure if Jake can beat him. You know, that's the only fight where I was like, nah, Jake's gonna lose that fight. Every other fight, I was like, nah, I got Jake winning. Like Ben Askren, I knew he was getting slept. I knew he was getting slept. That guy got no hands. They actually picked the worst UFC fighter to put against him. You know? So anyway, let's move on, man. Let's do this 2021, you know, I'm not upset. I mean, boxing awards. And I got me a little list here. I'm not gonna go into extreme detail. Of course, we're gonna stop and park and chop it up and talk about a few of them. All right, but I have a longer list. I'm not gonna go through every single thing, man. I'm just gonna go through a few of these, man. Upset of the not upset. KO of the year it's the hardest one to me. K KO KO of the year is always hard because you got all these KOs, right? And then you got like the upset KO. Then you got the KOs that were on undercards that you saw live, and then you were like, yo, this is crazy. This is KO of the year. And then you forgot about them. You know, you're not gonna remember every card. So I'm just thinking of the ones that we remember because it was, you know, based on popularity and stuff like that. You had Tank versus Santa Cruz wasn't this year. You had you had Fury and Wilder 3. That was a crazy KO. You had what else? What do I have here? Give me a second. What do I have here? What do I have? What do I have? I just had it up here a moment ago. Oh, okay. So with the women, I thought right away Baumgartner against Terry Harper. That was like this right away. I didn't even like go back and think of nothing crazy. Baumgartner was that was crazy. I mean, she knocked her out on her feet. She was on her feet out. So it was easy to pick that one. But as far as the men, I had it like you had Valdez against Burchell, which was started the year, right? That was crazy. And it was crazy because Valdez was an underdog. People did not see him. He just recently moved up to 130. And Burchell was a killer up there at 130 for a minute, you know? When he knocked him out like that, I was like, damn, that was up there. You got Woodley. Woodley is up there. Woodley and Paul's up there. I mean, that was crazy. That was crazy. They turned this dude into a meme, man. They got this guy. His memes are crazy. It looked like Joshua when he lost to Ruiz. It looks like Nate Robinson. It looked like it's one of those fights, you know. He's all memed out. What else you had? You had Gabe Rosado against Bektemir. That was one of my favorite ones. That's one of my personal favorite ones up there too. You know, you had what else you had? I said wow, you had Fury and Wilder 3. I'm giving it to Gabe Rosado, bro. I'm gonna give it to Gabe Rosado. When he knocked out Bektemir, he was getting pummeled. He was getting pummeled. He was in the corner getting destroyed. This guy was hitting him with every single thing. And out of nowhere, Gabe Rosado, who's not a knockout artist, knocked this dude out so crazy. Oh, I forgot about Montana Love against Baranche. Oh, I forgot about that knockout. I forgot about that knockout. Barranto got knocked out bad 2 years back. I forgot about that knockout. I have to go back and look at that knockout. I totally forgot him. I got Gabe though. I'm going with Gabe Rosado. Rosado got it for me. And Rosado's reaction, his reaction to that knockout was crazy. It was crazy. It was like the biggest. I mean, I'm a big Gabe Rosado fan, man. He needed something like that. And I know he's gone and lost to Magia, which was one of my favorite fights this year, by the way. But Gabe got it for me. Gabe got it for me. I think Valdez was crazy. It's between that and Valdez. Also got to put up Kiko Martinez against Kid Galahad was crazy. That was another one that was crazy and super random. It was so random. And then Kid Galahad is winning. First of all, like, didn't care for the fight. Didn't care for the fight because I'm like, I'm just tired of like everybody beating up. Oh, now the Zepeda win, all right, against Josue. That was probably the funniest knockout because of all the talking and the acting out Josue was doing. I feel like Josue let the Bronx down with that whole thing, and I'm not even talking about him losing. I'm talking about his behavior. He let the whole Bronx down when he did that. You know, because the way he was acting, his behavior, and then the craziest part about that knockout, I'm probably not going to be able to stay on too long because my throat is starting to bother me. The craziest part about that knockout was the cameraman that put it on his brother who was crying. And and the dude had a console. That made a knockout 20 times more dramatic. Because his brother was crying as if he was at a funeral. Like, I've seen mothers and wives crying and running to the ring off a knockout. But that was crazy. That was crazy. All right. There's a lot of them. But I got Gabe Rosado. Gabe Rosado was my favorite one to me. That did the most for me. That did the most. You know what I'm saying? Beck did get up. He did get up. But the way he was laying with his butt up in the air like that, nah, that was crazy. Beck, the bully, nah. Beck was being a bully that whole fight. Right? He dropped Rosado. And people love Beck. They was about to put him against Kovalev, just like with 6 professional fights not too long ago. They was gonna put him in there with Kovalev. And Gabe Rosado ended that whole train. That's it. He done, at least for now. Slept him. Anyway. All right, so that's my KO of the year. Out at the easy. I think fight of the year was easy for me. Wilder and Fury 3 was fight of the year. I mean, I think that was an easy one for me. The first fight that came to mind, Wilder and Fury 3. Wilder and Fury 1 probably was fight of the year. Wilder and Fury 2 was probably another one of it was up there. It's debatable for fight of the year. Wilder and Fury 3 made Wilder and Fury 1 and 2 look like practice. Wilder and Fury 3 is an all-time classic to me. I mean, there's so many fights that I loved in the heavyweight division recently. Joshua and Klitschko is up there, right? Wilder and Ortiz 1 was fire. But that Wilder and Fury 3 is like classic. Like, I love to go back and watch that. I've seen it twice since that fight. And that's going to be one that I'm going to be watching down the years. Like, yo, this was crazy. The night of watching that fight live was crazy. It was crazy. The knockdowns, you just didn't know. And then everything to build up to that fight, because all the excuses and everything and all the stuff with Glove K, it was just crazy to watch it like that, man. So it was a great fight. It wasn't even close. I think Zamora and Esparza was the best female fight. I think I'm not sure if I was live on that one, but I remember it was on the same card as and Beck and Gabe Rosado. And yo, Yusef, thank you for the donation, man. Appreciate it, man. Thank you. Super $100 donation, man. Best boxing channel of the year. Thanks for everything, all the coverage, the casual chats, and keeping it real. Appreciate you, bro. And thank you. You're one of my biggest donators and supporters of the channel, man. I appreciate you, man. Thank you. Thank you very much, Yusef. And thank you for showing that love. Yeah, the Zamora and Esparza fight was fire. That was on the same card as that fight was for, especially with, I think Zamora got dropped like in the first 1 and 2 round. That was a crazy fight. That was crazy, bro. All right. What else we got? All right, so we did KO. I want to say the most impressive win of the year. That was hard to decide on, because there's a lot of them. And I'm gonna say that. Let me just say upset of the year. Upset. Let's do upset of the year. Upset of the year. You had Kambosos versus Lopez. You had Warrington against Lara. You got Kid Galahad against Kiko Martinez. Who else? People were looking at Usyk and Joshua as a huge upset. I don't think that's up there. That was one of those like pick 'em fights. You got to go with Joshua because he's the bigger heavyweight. You got to go with Usyk because of the skill set. I don't think that like people are bringing that up as an upset, like a biggest upset. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think it's all based on size alone, but not skills. I mean, there's levels between them in skills. But anyway, I think Kambosos, I'm gonna have to go with Kambosos and Lopez. Yo, people got to remember. You got to remember. People got to remember before that fight went down. We're not even. I hate to say it, but what are we talking about, y'all? Let's be honest. Everyone that's here, let's be honest. We talking Lopez versus Devin Haney and Josh Taylor and Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia. We ain't talking about George Kambosos, man. And that's no disrespect to him. He's a good fighter. I love him. He's a great guy. He's a good guy. He's solid. 100%. But we wasn't talking about him, man. It was just a fight that needed. Teofimo Lopez is coming off of a win against Vasil Lomachenko. This guy's a KO artist. We're not thinking about him losing to George Kambosos. Now, some of you predicted. I think Tony predicted in here. He was in here earlier. I think he predicted, but because of all the things he was going through outside the ring. The delays. It had like 16 delays for that fight. This guy had COVID, plus he has asthma. There's a whole thing, though. He's going through a divorce. I think he's going through a divorce. This kid's going through a lot. But as much, and I knew that, but as much as he was going through, I didn't know everything, but I know he was going through some things. The one thing that surprised me out of everything was the strategy. I mean, it was the worst strategy. It was just a terrible display of boxing to me. Now, was it fun? Yes, it was definitely up there. It's definitely one of the fights of the year. I definitely consider it. If Wilder and Fury 3 wasn't so good, I would have considered fights like that and several other fights. It was a great fight. But damn, this dude's strategy sucked. It was the worst strategy I've seen. I mean, the kid didn't box at all. And then the fact that his corner was just telling him, like, yo, get him out of there. What are you doing? Your son just got knocked down in the first round, which was probably my favorite round of the year, by the way. That first round was crazy. I mean, I don't know what you were doing at the moment. You probably just casually watching the fight, and you see Teof coming out, and he's being really aggressive, and he's landing some big right hands against George, and he's clearly trying to get George out of there. And even if you listen to the commentary, man, the commentary didn't feel like George was going to be around too long. You hear it from what they were saying. And then out of nowhere, this dude gets dropped, and he got dropped hard. Man, yo, that had to be upset for me. You know, I had to be upset for me. All right, but there's a lot of upsets. You know what I'm saying? Warrington, Lara was crazy. That was a crazy upset. I mean, Lara destroyed Josh Warrington. And then we got the ridiculous rematch. And then, the whole Kid Galahad knockout of Kiko Martinez. You're like, man, we tired of watching Kiko Martinez get beat up. It's just been so many years, man. Really good pressure fighter back in the day. But, man, how many times we going to see him, Why is he getting a title shot? And then we saw what happened. All right. All right, let's go over. I didn't have time to thoroughly go over the robberies of the year. All right. I didn't have time to look and go through, because you got to go through cards, what fights were on those cards, who got robbed. I personally didn't. I'm sure there's much more bigger robberies than this one, but I think the one that pissed me off the most, and I know we're getting a third fight, was Roman Gonzalez and Estrada. All right. That I hated that scorecard. It's not that Estrada didn't do well. I think Estrada did well, but I thought it was a clear 8 rounds to 4 for Roman Gonzalez, man. I mean, I'm glad we're getting a third fight, but Roman Gonzalez did not lose that fight, man. Absolutely no way. No way. No way. It was no way he lost that fight. Again, I'm glad we're getting a third fight. Estrada is a great fighter. He's a good fighter. I like him, but that was some bullshit. It is what it is. I was pissed off. I think I did a video after that. I was in Florida at that time. I was down there with my dad for his 60th, and I found a way to watch that fight. And I loved the fight. The fight was a great fight. It was a great effort. Again, Estrada did not do bad. But Roman Gonzalez clearly won that fight. And I think it was messed up. And again, it's a good third fight. But there's so many other fights at 115 that are good anyway. And I know he would have to fight Rung Risai again, or I would love to see the Ioka fight. There's other fights that could be made. They didn't have to do that, but they did it. We're gonna get a third fight. It is what it is. So I didn't do research. I couldn't remember all the fights off the top of the head that was robbed. I did see a few robberies this year, but that was the first one that came to mind. I do think Castano did beat Charlo. All right. I think Castano won against Charlo. All right. I think I had it 7 rounds to 5, though. Yeah, I think I had it 7-5 for Castano. I can't remember. I did a video on it. Castano won to me. All right. Charlo hurt him more, but Castano won more rounds. Castano won. And I think in the rematch, because I got to talk about that too, they're having their rematch. Charlo's going to be the one that needs to adjust more in this rematch, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? All right. All right. So listen, we're going to go on this last one. We're going to go straight to Fighter of the Year. And Fighter of the Year, I don't think it was that hard for me to decide. I think I had Josh Taylor there, I had Usyk, for his win against Joshua Taylor, becoming undisputed against Ramirez. Fulton recently. I love Fulton's 2 wins are really, really good wins. Really, really good wins. But I had to give it to Canelo, you know. I had to give it to Canelo. I gave it to Canelo. He fought 3 times. One of the fights sucked, but the other 2 were good. And he became undisputed, and yeah, I gave it to him. I one thing about Canelo, with all the criticisms that I've had of him over the years, I could appreciate a fighter fighting as much as he does. I think that's probably my favorite thing about Canelo right now. I like the fact that within 12 months, all right, 11 months or whatever it took, 4 fights you gave me. You gave me 4 fights in 11 months and became undisputed. I love that. I mean, I need that more. Now, as far as the quality, you can make you can criticize. Maybe you could say like, oh, Billy Joe wasn't that good, or you could say Plant wasn't that good. I think Billy Joe was a lot more proven than Plant. You might not think he's better than Plant, but I think Billy was a lot more proven because of what he did at 160. Yildirim, not gonna even include him, but I think I had to give it to Canelo. I think Fulton definitely should be mentioned though, for those 2 wins he picked up. Those 2 wins were good wins. All right. Against 2 undefeated fighters. All right. So I think that was probably the most debatable. Usyk being Joshua was probably one of the biggest wins of the year for sure. Much bigger win, more impressive than the Canelo wins, but that's the only win he had this year, and that's the only fight. And I just couldn't base it on that. I know Joshua lost. I've seen Joshua lose before. I hated that he lost the fight, but that's why I couldn't give a win. But I think he definitely could have been up there. I heard a lot of Usyks already, and that's good. And then who else? Who else did I just say? Josh Taylor, being Jose Ramirez. Again, that was a big win. It was a huge win. I think it was as a single win, it was a bigger win than maybe you can make an argument than the Canelo wins to, as far as single win, because Ramirez was a legit, unified champion. So that might have been the biggest uh of win. But again, it was just that one fight, so it could have gone to any of those 4 to me. I picked Canelo. I picked Canelo. All right. This just fighting 3 times. All right. So yeah, that's the way I see it, man. All right. So anyway, I'm gonna close this out. Oh, Lomachenko. Lomachenko had a good win. Was a Nakatani fight this year too? Let's look him up real quick. Still Lomachenko. I must search him a lot because I typed in V and his name popped up right away. Oh, so the Nakatani fight was this year too. Yeah, it was in June. I felt like it was longer than that. Lomachenko's up there, man. I mean, yo, you beating Nakatani and dominated Kome like that, it's up there as far as non-title performances. That's up there. Shout out to Charles Edward Cheese, man, subscriber of the year. Yeah, man, definitely my biggest donator for sure, man. Thank you, man. Thank you all of y'all though. Everyone that's here, man. All y'all familiar, man. Appreciate all of you, man, and supported me while I was out with this stupid COVID thing. But yeah, man. So I'm gonna leave it at that, man. I'll be back tomorrow. I'm still quarantining, so I gotta stay in the house. So I've been in the house all week, but I couldn't do content because the cough was just too bad. But So I know a lot of y'all was asking a lot of questions in the comments. For the people, again, please be careful out there, especially in this East Coast. Socializing, going out, drinking, meeting people. Just be careful while you're out there. Slow it down. It's the winter, you know. Pick it back up when it gets warm. Uh Symptoms, all flu symptoms. I didn't lose the taste of this that I think one of the days, I think my loss of smell was a little off. I didn't realize it until later in the evening, but I had to take out the trash and I didn't realize that it smelled until I was really close up to it. And I said, maybe I didn't smell it. But I think uh body aches, cough, congestion, headaches, the fever. I got the fever Saturday it started. The fever Saturday was bad. Into Sunday was bad. Saturday and Sunday, the fevers was high. Um, Monday, everything calmed down. Started to calm down a little bit. Uh, what else did I get? Yeah, that's it. Cough, sneezing, stuff like that. Like, oh, the lungs. That's the thing. That's the trick to it. Your breathing is different. I think that's the only thing outside of flu symptoms was the breathing. Going downstairs, going downstairs, I felt like my lungs was on fire. I never felt that before. So I think that's the one thing. Yeah, Aaron, I agree with you. I said that to somebody on the phone the other day. It's funny how the flu, no one gets it anymore. But you know what? I don't want to. I don't want to get into a bunch of theories on COVID right now. All right, but the lungs. I think that was the one thing that was different about COVID and the flu was the lungs. I never felt my lungs. I've had a flu plenty of times. My lungs never felt hot before. I felt like like you like a car engine. When it's overheated. And you just gotta stop and slow down. That's how I felt. So I think that's the one thing. I wanted to get on here earlier. But again, like I said, the cough was just too bad. All right, but listen, I'll be back tomorrow because we definitely got to talk about. I would never wear a Versace robe, bro. Those things are bad luck. I would never wear one of those, man. This is a Nautica robe, and I've had this robe for a long time. Like this robe is gonna be with me forever, man. I've had this robe for years. I think I've made videos in the past with this robe on, but what was I about to say? Gotta talk about Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford. What else we gotta talk about? We gotta talk a little bit about Tyson Fury. I have a list of things that I definitely gotta address, and some other smaller news, but we gotta talk. We gotta talk, and I'll jump back on tomorrow and get with y'all. All right. Anyway, if you're new, subscribe, smash the like button if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'll be back here tomorrow. All right. Have a good night. Peace. Happy holidays too, by the way. Happy holidays.